Hi, everyone. I'm Sunny.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rox. And this is
Literature on the Rocks.
Book Club.
Book club.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry to our listeners' ears.
You sounded like the chicken from Moana.
You're welcome.
What's his name?
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
I kind of want to go see the live action. I know everyone is freaking out about his hair, but
Oh,
I'll
it looks
still
so
watch
nasty,
It looks
but
so
I will
weird.
watch
I'm
it.
still going to go watch
I'm going to
it.
watch it. It's a very small part of not deterring me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm into it.
It's going to be
into it.
The Rock.
Yeah. But he has this not very
Because he
good wig.
voiced Maui in the actual cartoon one,
So
right?
he has the same voice.
Yes. Well, yeah.
And he kind of has the same vibe, but they put a wig on him, and it's
know,
a
it's
really
weird.
bad wig.
Yeah, but I feel like The Rock lost a lot of weight, and so he looks...
Well, he's also
Too
a lot
skinny?
older.
He's a demigod.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You live forever,
But
Rock.
shouldn't he be youthful in his appearance since he's a
He doesn't
demigod?
look older. He's just like, as an older man, he's not as buff and ripped as
Oh,
he used to
well.
be.
But I feel like that was
those
a choice
muscles
he
start
made.
to deteriorate in your older years.
But he...
I know.
But he's
That's what I'm
also
saying.
like,
Yeah,
he doesn't
yeah.
have like the round face, so he's like very...
Maybe he should have bulked up for
Gaunt.
this
I mean,
He is bulky.
he doesn't look like the cartoon, but who looks like a cartoon?
one. I mean,
They
it's
made the
freaking
cartoon after him.
Yeah.
2026.
That's
They
what I'm saying.
could.
Like, no one would have looked more like Maui than him.
That's true.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
My question for you guys are you a make your bed in the morning, no matter what type of person?
No, because my husband's usually still in it.
Same.
No, I only make my bed when people are coming to inspect my
fair.
home.
Fair.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so my husband is not a make your bed every day type of person. If it were my decision, I would make my bed
Yeah.
every day. But he's in it most of the time. Or if he's leaving before me, I will make it before I leave for the most part. Unless I'm running late. And then that's like the last thing I'm going to do. So last night, because my husband is now working nights this week, he did not make the bed before he left. My next question for you is, do you make the bed before you get into it? And I don't mean like fully make it, but I mean like
Fix the top.
fix
the top.
blankets and like reorganize and
Yeah.
put the sheets and make it all like so last night I was fixing the bed, right? Putting all the sheets back,
I'm
reorganizing.
not tucking in. I'm not
No, I'm
doing
not
No,
tucking
but
in,
like
I'm, like,
realigning the top
realigning,
quilts
yes.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
making sure all the
Whatever's going to
blankets
go on top of me, I'm fixing.
Yes,
Which
making
is
sure
one
there's no
blanket.
like not wrinkles, but like
No, wrinkles can stay.
and I thought, is this a normal thing or am I weird
No.
for wanting to have like a fixed bed before I
I
get
think
in?
because I've lived with you, I know you truly do make your bed before you get into it if it's not made, and you're like trying to be like, I just kind of fix it. No, bitch, I know you make your bed. So I never go to that extreme, but I also have made it very simple for my husband. So we have one blanket,
Yeah.
and a fitted sheet. That's all that's on my bed.
Yeah, that's nice.
And like, so yes, I will straighten up that blanket. You were like, oh, this sheet and these extra pillows, I gotta fluff first. And like, you're fully making
You're making your bed.
I'm not fully making it because that would require
Okay.
like putting the pillows back on, the decorative pillows. I'm not doing all that.
Okay, so
She's not putting
however-
decorative pillows, but she's making her bed before she's getting in.
I am pretty much making the
When
bed.
I
Like
got home
aside
yesterday-
from tucking the blanket under the pillows, I'm actually folding it down so that it's like up to the pillow.
Yeah. Yeah,
My-
you're making your bed, bitch.
quilt was just rolled up in a ball.
Okay.
And if I just grabbed a corner and was like, this is my corner, my husband will come in and grab the wrong
Yeah.
corner. And
Oh
then
my
in
God,
the
I
middle
hate
of the
that.
night, my feet will be out and I'll be so
Yes.
pissed off. So I fix it and like corner to corner.
Yes.
But just like fix the top blanket. That's it. I'm not doing all of that.
No, that was my question because you're right. Now I'm looking back at it, I'm like, no, my bed, it looks like I made it.
Yeah.
And then I get into it because it drives me crazy to get into it and like, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
I guess the more I talk to you guys and the more I ask about random things that I do, the more I learn that it's quirky and not normal.
I'm sure there are other people that make their
Yes.
bed before they get into it.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a whole community of inside socks, outside socks people. So I feel like they're out
Those
there.
are the same people who make their bed.
Most likely.
Yeah. I do think we all have little quirks about us.
Yeah.
Even some of our quirks, we're like, no, that's totally normal. We get it. But then the other people will be like, what the? You do what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we get in this book club?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
We are book clubbing The Wedding People by Alison Espach.
Okay, so last week, The Wedding People, Rox and I rated it 3, and Sunny rated it a 2.
Our book clubs, we have the first 4 questions are always the same for every book, and then the last few questions will be specific to the book. Our first question is first impressions. What were your initial thoughts when you started reading Wedding People? Did the book meet your expectations or surprise you? I was looking forward to reading this book. It's pretty popular on social media, but I didn't know what it was about. I went in pretty blind-ish.
You raw dogged it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And I have to say that the first few chapters, finding out Phoebe was there to off herself, definitely surprised me. I thought, well, this is darker than I expected.
Yeah.
In the end, though, I did really enjoy it.
Similar to Sunny, I was pretty caught off guard in the first few chapters because the story's far from happy. And I
And
really
I thought it was like a comedy, right? Like it was like
Yes.
supposed to be like,
Yes, I anticipated, well, I'll talk about it, that when I'm thinking wedding, I imagine like a love story and like happy things, you know, wedding people. I thought maybe it was going to talk about the quirkiness of wedding people, which it sort of does, but it wasn't really that in the beginning. And right off the bat, you learn that the main character is there to commit suicide. It was a total left field plot point that I was not expecting. I did find myself thinking for a little while in the beginning, is this story going to be sad the whole time? And it was for a while, but then it did come around at some point. And I think even Rachel, we were texting about it and you were like, yeah, it's a little sad to start. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But not what I anticipated. But it ended up being okay.
I didn't know when it was going to get
Better?
when it was going to turn around.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Because I was like 6 chapters in, and I'm like, this is still pretty dark.
It was pretty grim.
I was like, it was like dry, dark humor
Yes.
a little bit.
Yes.
And I was like, am I allowed to like this?
Also, she'd make like comments and be like, that's funny, but am I supposed to be laughing?
Yeah, right.
And then I'm like questioning my own humor. Like, am I dark? What's happening?
yes, we are.
Yeah.
So this is my choice, and I was definitely surprised. I thought this story was going to be more along the lines of Emily Henry, and I thought it was going to be light. And boy, was I wrong. Suicide is front and center in the beginning of the book, and though it deals with very heavy topics, I found this book had pockets of levity, and it was really well written, so I enjoyed this book. But yeah, no, I picked it, and this is not what I thought it was going to be. But it was good.
You called me and you're like, so this is a dark book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I walked in thinking this is going to be a fun,
Yeah.
like light story. I'm glad we slid it in between these other books. I'm excited for it. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Quite the heavy heart.
Yeah. Okay, unresolved questions. Were there any plot points or character arcs that you felt were left unresolved or could have been explored further? And I don't think these questions belong in this book. So, Ashley, I would love a novella to follow to answer these questions. I want to know, did Phoebe find happiness in her new life? Did she follow through with selling her house? Is she now the groundskeeper for that historic home? Is she finding her true happiness? What happened with Gary? Do they... Gary!
Gary.
Do they... Do they keep their friendship? Does it turn into something more? Does she turn into a mother-like figure for Juice? And for Lila, it was very on brand for her to run away at the end. But does she come back? And does she finally open up and be real with those in her life? Or is she coming back just as a vacationed Lila? The end.
Insert Rock's answer right there. Same thing. Almost like verbatim. I just said, what does happiness actually end up looking like for Phoebe and Lila? It seems sort of that Phoebe's having a rebirth and clarity around who she is, but when life goes back to normal and she sits back into her routine, will her old habits come back? And will she really relive the grief of her marriage? Is her happiness and clarity just a moment in time because she's been distracted by this wedding and these new people? And the same thing can be said about Lila. Did she really find herself and what she actually wants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actual, like, I think you're right. I don't know if it should be answered in this book. Maybe it needs a sequel.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, we're all got the same sentiment. Mine was, do I have questions? Heck yeah. But I don't think that they're actually like plot point questions necessarily, but I would have loved to have more, to read about Phoebe going back to her life and picking things up with Gary and Lila, getting together with Jim after having some time away. Like, I would have loved to see all of that and where their life went after this whirlwind of a week in each of their lives.
Alternate ending. If you could change one thing about the ending of Wedding People, what would it be and why? Honestly, I wanted Phoebe and Gary to end up together. They seemed like they meshed so well together, and Phoebe really hit it off with Juice. And so it seems as though they could have been happy. Also, Lila with Jim. Just let them be with the people they want to be with already. That's how I ended it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote, the ending of this book almost actually feels like the beginning. Yes, the characters grew and there was a lot of resolve at the end and some answers to some conflicts, but really each of their lives was kind of just starting anew. I don't know that I would have changed the ending necessarily of this book, but I kind of want to explore this book having a sequel.
I did like majority of the ending to Wedding People. I love that Phoebe found love for her life and herself rather than just jumping into a relationship with Gary. I liked that Lila was not totally a villain, just a young girl stuck in societal pressure. I do wish, though, that it would have ended with Gary ending the wedding and choosing his daughter, because she clearly needed him to choose her, and he didn't. Yeah.
I feel conflicted about that because I feel like he felt like the honorable thing to do is to not put this other woman in. He shouldn't have ever proposed to her if
No.
Juice didn't have a thing for her. But
Right.
And
like, I'm this far into it, I'm gonna have a conversation like, are you still good? I don't know.
And to then just be like, we're not going to talk about your mom anymore because it makes Lila upset.
that's
That would
crazy.
have never fucking happened.
No.
If you're not
Yeah.
cool with it, Lila, you got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, we could have, I mean, I feel like I could have a whole 5-hour conversation on like, especially now having a child of my own, marrying somebody that maybe my child didn't fully feel good about, like doing that, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it would play a factor, but I think I would have to have a conversation like, look, this is what's making me happy. And I know that you don't love this, but I need you on board. I don't know. Obviously, I've never been put in this situation, but
Yeah, but I just
felt like there was such a rift between the two of them. That
I'm not going to introduce my kid to someone that I don't already feel very committed to.
Yeah,
and I think
that's
that
true.
would be the hard thing to like now try to feel like I have to backpedal, but I'm already in this. Like, I think I would feel like we need to figure this out because I am truly happy and I don't want you
But
to
I
dislike
don't think
this
he was
person.
truly happy.
and I think that's
No,
where
I
the
don't think so either. That's
conversation
what I
on
mean.
this
He shouldn't
one
have even proposed.
Yes, he wasn't fully committed really. But also I think a factor that plays into it is the age of your child, right? Like if my child is 20, I'd be like, I know they're not your favorite, but maybe you could learn to love them for me because I'm happy and it's the person that I really enjoy being around. Like you're
Or
grown and have
vocalize.
your own child, like your own life, and you're not going to be here day in and day out with
Yeah.
me. So maybe it's a different conversation versus
Yeah.
if my child was 7 and they're going to
or
have
like
to grow
Juice,
up,
who was a teenager
grow
or a
up
preteen.
with this
like,
person.
That's what, like, a preteen is angry at the world most of their preteen lives. So
Sure.
that's what I mean. I don't even think that it's a matter of necessarily like, because you don't like this person, I'm not going to marry them. I think it's Lila was just never the right person.
No, but I also think that they like, not saying I'm not going to marry them, but like, tell me why you don't like them.
Right.
Like, what happened other than like the look of their face?
But that's what I mean. Like, well, because she was born a bitch.
Well, then that's not a reason.
Which they thought was
Exactly.
hilarious.
But
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
but if she said I can't talk about my mom around her because she gets upset, or
Yeah,
like these
that would
other
be a problem
we can
for
address
me.
it.
Yeah.
Right? We can address this and we can find solutions for these problems.
Yes.
But I'm not going to not marry them. I'm not going to.
But if Lila came
Not
back and was
choose
like, "You're
Lila.
right, I'm not gonna talk about her. I don't want her spoken in this house," I'm like, well, this isn't your house.
It probably is, though. She's got loaded money.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Adaptation dreams. If Wedding People were to be adapted into a movie or TV series, who would you cast in the main roles? Okay, this is the first time that I felt this would be a good TV series over a movie. I feel like every time I've casted so far, it was imagining it was a movie. And this time I felt like a Netflix series you could binge
This
watch.
would be a good series.
And then you could keep going. Like season 2 is what happens after the wedding, right?
Yeah.
Like we get to get more. So anyways,
Yes.
I agree.
every episode is like about a different person and she's learning more about one person, right? I just felt like
or like just the way the book was set up, like it was chunked by the day.
Yeah.
It would make a good series.
yes, I feel like it would be a good series.
It kind of gives me the vibes, now that you're mentioning it, of the Netflix series, The 4 Seasons.
No, I don't know what that is.
Recommend.
4 seasons?
The 4 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start it tonight.
Yeah. So I cast Phoebe, Lila, and Gary.
Same.
Too.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
For Phoebe, I casted Rashida Jones.
Oh, yeah. I like her.
Oh.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she is. And I feel like she could be a little bit dark, but also timid because she's this life previously. And then she can also be funny and she can be likable. And yeah.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
That
Thank
is
you.
a good pick.
I picked Vanessa Kirby.
I did
Yeah,
Mandy
okay.
Moore.
Mandy. Oh, that's a good one too. Mandy Moore.
I know Mandy Moore.
I know her.
I thought more of her of the This Is Us Mandy Moore
Yeah.
because she was more serious and
I'm going to cast myself out because I like your guys' better.
Okay. All right.
And I'm really struggling because I like Mandy Moore, but I also really like Rashida.
That's a hard one.
Those are good.
yeah. I feel like Rashida might be better with the snarky like one-offs that Phoebe has. Like the delivery might be better.
Okay. All right, let's go Rashida.
For Lila, I chose Emma Roberts.
I like a good Emma Roberts.
I felt like she could be like,
I might have gotten my people backwards because I'm looking up my Lila and I'm like, wait, this feels like it should have been Phoebe.
okay.
So I think I swapped my names out.
Okay, who's
For Phoebe, it should have been Jenny Slate. And then Vanessa Kirby should have been for my
yeah,
Lila.
that was for sure not. Yeah, you did mix that
I
up.
mixed them
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jenny Slate should have been my Phoebe. And then Vanessa Kirby's my Lila.
I'm still good with Rashida Jones.
Okay. Okay, so but then Vanessa Kirby is Lila.
Yeah.
She feels a little old for Lila, but I do like the look of her.
Yeah. She looked like similar to Emma Roberts, right?
I did Elle Fanning. I was thinking of more like looking like old money type of situation.
Yeah. I think I like Elle.
Yeah.
Is probably my pick.
I like Elle's like richness. I think she's so sweet. That's the only thing. And
Well, okay. If I
don't
think
know.
about Emma Roberts, though, she can play a really good, like, spoiled
Brat.
brat. She's got some really good roles where she's strong and powerful. So it's kind of how I've envisioned Lila to be, right? Like in those moments with what's her face with Phoebe, she's like direct and boom and very like kind
But
of
when she's in front of everyone, I feel like, oh yeah, Elle makes sense.
yes,
Like,
yes,
on
a mix of the two.
Yes. Can we blend them?
Can we get an Elle Roberts?
In public, she'll be Elle Fanning. When she just meets her in Phoebe in the
You
room,
know what?
she'll be Emma Roberts.
Like, why does this girl look so different?
Her attitude is great, though. It's really on point.
I agree. There's some good points for each of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But you're right. I've never seen Elle Fanning play the snarky,
Yeah.
like, bitch.
Yes, for sure. Right.
She's very much sweet and put together, and that. Yeah, you're right.
Except for she's gonna be the Nightingale. Who is she playing for? Which one?
Isabel.
Which sister?
Oh yeah.
She's Isabel.
So
maybe she could be.
Isabel
Maybe she's
is
got
going to
some
be
chops.
snarky and
snarky. Yeah.
yeah. So
Wait, okay, it's between us twos. You pick.
Emma Roberts.
okay.
All right. Okay, for Gary. My Gary is Patrick Dempsey.
Oh,
He plays a doctor. He's older. He's maybe too old, honestly.
I think so.
He's still handsome though.
He is very
yeah.
handsome.
But yeah, maybe a little too old.
Yeah, I did Andrew Garfield.
Interesting. Okay.
I feel like when he's cleaned up, he gives me that New England vibes.
Okay. I chose Jason Segel.
I can't look at him without instantly laughing. Like,
Well, because what I pictured was Gary was that like when he had those moments with Phoebe and Juice, he was like light and fun and like he had this lightness about him that made him feel like he was more comfortable again, right? And kind of endearing. Fine. Who are our options?
he is
Andrew
a handsome man.
Garfield and Patrick.
but I think Andrew Garfield is the winner.
I agree. Andrew.
I don't think any of us had spot on guys. For
No.
Gary, though. Okay, so adaptation dreams. Ice Drop is Phoebe is Rashida Jones, Lila is Emma Roberts, and Gary is Andrew Garfield. Woohoo! Ooh, ooh.
Villain, victim, or just human? Lila is blunt, controlling, and often hard to like, but we mainly see that side of her in private moments with Phoebe, while she presents a different version of herself to others. Did your feelings towards her change throughout the book? Where did you land by the end? Understanding her, rooting for her, or still not buying it, and why? My feelings towards Lila shifted between irritation and endearment, but I ultimately found myself rooting for her. She's clearly young and still figuring things out, with strong people-pleasing tendencies. I'm glad she found someone she could be honest with and that she was open to the guidance that Phoebe offered.
I thought you were going to hate her.
I did at first.
Okay.
I think towards the end, it was hard to believe anything she said. I don't know that we ever got her true personality. Maybe glimpses of it throughout with different people. She may have been her most true self with Phoebe because she didn't know her that well and probably didn't care if Phoebe liked her or not. But even with that relationship, she covered up her feelings and shifted. She was still kind of shifty with Phoebe occasionally, right? She'd one night tell her, I don't want to marry Gary. Then the next night was, we're getting married. She was shifting so much.
She didn't want to get married. She was drunk off her butt.
Yeah. So again, a true self, but then as soon as she's sober, goes back to not being her true self, like not letting her true feelings show. I think it's definitely an element of just being human, though. I don't see her as a villain or a victim. We're all performative in our lives in some way or another, even with the people we are most closest to. So I believe there are moments in which you aren't your true self just in general, whether it be because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings or you don't want to argue or just feel like whatever the comment is, it might not be worth mentioning. Don't we all at some point at some level filter ourselves for one reason or another? Do I like the way she went about treating Phoebe and acted around her wedding people? No. But maybe that's just an exaggerated version of what all humans do at some point.
I wrote, Lila was horrible at the beginning. I thought she was a bit of a bridezilla. However, I did start to feel sympathy for her as time went on, and her story of her dad getting sick, Gary promising her he'd live, her dad's dying wish being that she get married, and then Gary proposes. Like, she's clearly a people pleaser, and she had all these things stacked up against her. It was almost like this moment in her life was like, this is clearly the right path, and I'm going to take it, right? This man just fell into my lap, and he happens to be the doctor that my dad potentially needs, and you're promising me that my dad's going to live.
Which is a terrible thing for a doctor to do.
Yes. And then you propose and you're saving my dad's life and you've just stepped into my life and you're sweeping me away and this is the best moment ever. And then, oh, by the way, your dad's going to die and you're still engaged to this man who promised you something crazy that he can't keep. And it just felt like a lot. Anyway, so.
Like everything was crumbling around her and that's the one thing she
and
could hold on
like,
to.
I just want you to get married, baby girl.
Also, why put that pressure on your child?
$1 million for this wedding.
Like it felt
wild.
I have no choice.
Yes.
Right? I feel like I could start to see.
Because even the career that she has is where her mom placed her.
Yeah.
The art career, right?
Yeah, like running the art gallery. None of it is her choice.
Or her passion.
Yes.
Right.
And she like backed herself into a corner. I definitely was bothered by her attitude when she found out what Phoebe was planning on doing while she was there. The selfishness of it all and the blindness as to what was going on around her definitely gave me the ick right off the bat. But she really started coming into herself and then seeing her whole story unfold definitely made me feel compassion towards her. And I ended the book liking her, rooting for her, and hoping that her and Phoebe stay in touch.
Same.
No history, no filter. In the book, some of the most honest and vulnerable conversations happen between people who barely know each other. Why do you think it can feel easier to open up to strangers than to a friend or family? Would you feel comfortable doing it yourself? I think it's extremely easy to open up to strangers about difficult topics because you don't know them or care about their opinion. Also, sometimes people that don't have an emotional connection to you can sometimes provide advice that you maybe wouldn't have accepted otherwise. It could also be an obvious answer that you might not be willing to hear until it's from someone that has no stake. I used to work in retail, and the simplest, "How are you today?" greeting would elicit the most honest, detailed answers. It always caught me off guard. Interestingly, this happened far more often than you would think, and sometimes people are just waiting for the opportunity to get things off their chest. I remember one time somebody asking somebody like, "Oh, how are you today?" And they literally broke into tears and started telling me about their divorce and their custody battle, and it was like, I don't.
So would you like some underwear?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want the receipt in the bag?
So what exactly did you come in here for?
Yeah, right.
And it ended up being a great sale because the lady needed some conversation and I was there to be a listening
Yeah.
ear. But it just worked out, right? So I just think sometimes people need an outlet, and it's easy to do it to people who you don't know, because there's no judgment sometimes. And if there is, you don't care what that judgment is.
Would you talk to a stranger so openly, or have you?
I have. I think it's reciprocated, right? So I've had a customer where we're talking and then they have a situation that I've either been through or experienced or whatever. And then I'll tell them like, oh, well, I've experienced that because of XYZ. And now we're both telling each other our life stories.
Yeah.
And it just flows.
Yeah.
Funny enough, they'll come back and then you just have a better bond the next time they come in.
Right, yeah.
And you don't have to do all that conversations. But I don't know, it would just be like, oh, Sonny, I remember you from last time. And then
Yeah.
you're like, how did that go? You know,
Yeah,
because
right.
now I'm curious. I'm invested. So,
I don't know if I've ever talked to someone. I mean, I'll read my answer, but I don't know that I've ever talked to a stranger in the moment working through it. Right? I mean, I've actually never gone to therapy either, but I feel like maybe that would be a stranger I would talk to. But
Oh, I guess. I
Yeah.
didn't think of it from that perspective.
I
So,
thought
yeah,
about it
I've
with people on
actually-
the street, but yes, I talked to a stranger.
Yeah, I've talked
Every
to a
few
therapist.
weeks.
yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Tell
done
them
that.
personal stuff, but that's what they're getting paid to do.
Yeah, like I like
Paying you.
actively looked for somebody to talk to that was a stranger and
Yeah.
could give me good feedback.
I guess I didn't think of it from that. I really only thought about like people on the
Yeah.
street.
No,
Yeah,
I
which
didn't think of it
was
as a therapist either, but
yes.
that is essentially
a
Totally a
stranger.
stranger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think my answer is the idea that I can say whatever I want because this person is a stranger is not something that I can relate to. I think in the book, it made sense to me that these people felt like they could be honest because they had no reason to lie. However, I have never felt like I could just walk up to a stranger and be brutally honest about things that I was going through currently. I think my social anxiety plays a big role, and I don't think I could just blurt out something I felt was potentially inappropriate to share. Like, I'm here to kill myself. However, I think being able to have a clean slate and tell this person anything I want to give them a glimpse into who I am is appealing in some ways. I get to write this story before they pass judgment on who I am. I get to tell them the parts of me that I want them to know. Those things feel appealing, but the people in this book almost felt like they were divulging dark secrets to someone they barely knew. The sister telling Phoebe about her affair and how her and her husband were trying to work on it. Like, that was very personal. Or Phoebe just coming out and telling Lila that she's here to kill herself or commit suicide. There were some pretty big dark secrets. I wasn't sure if I were in their shoes, I would be openly talking about to strangers. But maybe that's just me though.
I agree. I think their secrets were like the deepest, darkest secret they could have ever held, right?
And like you're currently going through it.
yeah.
I could see Phoebe, like, after she decided, like, I'm going to live, and she went down to the hot tub and ran into Gary, like, her saying, like, I was going to kill myself, but now I'm living life, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that one.
Oh,
but
yeah,
when she
maybe.
got into the elevator, no. I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell this bitch who just gave me a fruit bat, like, oh, it doesn't matter because I'm going to die tonight. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed wild to me.
I'm going to drink this chocolate wine because I may never get a chance.
I think there is a sense of no accountability when talking to strangers. You're essentially venting to someone you likely won't see again, someone who can't follow up and has no context about you or the people or situations you're describing. The anonymity can make it feel easier to open up. Personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I tend to keep things close to the vest with people I don't know and prefer not to share too much personal information with strangers because you don't know them, and I don't like people having a leg up on me, and I feel like if I tell them personal things, they might have that.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think in the book I didn't question it, right? Because it did feel like something that
People do.
people would do.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to hide. I've decided that I'm not going to live anymore. So I'm going to tell you how I feel because I don't give a shit right now.
Yeah.
That didn't feel weird to me until I started thinking about, would I do any of this?
But I don't know. I've never had, like, Phoebe's whole life just, like,
Crumbled.
crash.
Yeah.
And as she talked about, like, her life growing up without her mom and how she had to fit in these little boxes for her dad, like, I could see her just being like, I'm gonna live for me, and I'm
Yeah.
just gonna tell you how I see it
true.
now.
Yeah.
So I can see how she got to that point. I don't think I'm at that point.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm not at that point either. But even some of the other things that people were saying to her
Yeah, that's true.
felt like you're not at a point where You're like, I'm just done with all this and I don't give a shit. But maybe she was just so likable, it felt easy to talk to. But still, I would be guarded. I think I would be guarded.
I don't think I've ever just met someone and been like, do you want to hear all of the deepest, darkest things that I've ever said or done?
But I didn't question it when I was reading the book.
No, the story flowed nicely and it just like, oh, like these people are all cool now. And
exactly.
You didn't question it then.
Also, I think too, maybe my answer comes from the fact that I think it happens to me more often than I would normally imagine, that people just tell me their things.
Yeah.
Like
your position now, and even when you were in retail, it's like
my job was to get people to start talking. That was my role, right?
Yeah.
So I felt like
it kind of is now too.
It is now. So maybe I just had like the training to get people to open up, and it just naturally happens now because I did it for so many years. But I would say probably once a day.
Like on the streets?
Just in general. Like, yeah, I could be at the grocery store and somebody's like, hey, we'll start talking. And then they start telling me stuff. And I'm like, wild. Okay.
I've definitely had people overshare with me, not once a day, but
at least I would say, but at work and whatever.
I used to think it was wild when I worked in retail and people trauma dumped on me. I was like, you have to know this is a fake question, bitch. I don't really give a shit how you're doing. I am being nice and placating you. I'm not fucking asking about your dead dog or your dead grandma. Just fucking say I'm cool and buy these goddamn sports balls. Like, I don't fucking care.
You have to know this is a fake question, bitch.
Also, I feel like that's part of like American culture. We just say hi, how are you to everybody.
I know, and it's fake. It's not real. I really don't give a shit.
I don't care how you're doing, lady.
Or the ones that
my
would be
secret
like
shopper thing says I have to greet you. Damn it.
Or really used to piss me off is the people that were like upset because you didn't have something or that they didn't get what they wanted. And like, you're not the one who helped them. They're coming to get checked out. And you're like, how are you today? Oh, I could be better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, go have a fucked day. Fuck you, Beth. I don't give a shit. I hope you stub your toe on the way out this goddamn store.
Thanks for giving us the money that you did.
I think everybody needs to work retail at least one point in their life because there is so many life skills you get out of working there.
Any like and service related to like in the food, being a server or like
I don't think I could ever do that because
yeah,
people are dicks.
Yeah, they are. They're really mean. It's funny this when we were in Monterey, we were shopping and we went into this store and my husband ended up buying something for a coworker because it was like a store that we don't have down here. And we were at the counter and old habits of retail die hard because my husband's like, can you separate these orders because this is for, you know, like somebody else who was going to sell him and whatever. And I was like, yeah, sorry about your UPT. And he was like, I don't give a shit. I'm about to leave today. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that just came
your
out.
store manager.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to that person.
Yeah.
But also I'm helping your conversion, so take it. Old retail habits still stuck in there, embedded for life.
Okay, the weight of expectations. Weddings often highlight societal expectations around love, success, and happiness. How does the novel challenge or reinforce those expectations? Did it make you reflect on your own view of what a successful life looks like? I wrote, this book did not make me reflect on what a successful life looks like. This question did, though.
I said the same thing.
First, weddings really bring out the best in people, but in some really fake ways sometimes. When it's your wedding day, you're on cloud 9, or I was at least, yeah. Or you're stressed to the max, maybe both. But weddings typically bring out beautiful moments. Promises of forever, everyone talking about how wonderful the couple is together. You lose 20 pounds to fit into the dress, only to gain 30 pounds back within the next month. Everything is forced to be perfect for the day, and then real life sinks in. I think that's the appeal to a lot of social media too. It needs to be perfect for the photo or the video. And then once the camera is off, it's back to real life. This puts so much pressure on us, pressure to live a life that looks perfect. My house is always clean. My kids are always smiling. My husband never leaves a dish in the sink. And my kid always puts his toys away. And if for some reason there's a chance that this isn't the case, well, then I better be ready to fix it. Real life is there are dishes in the sink more times than there are not. The playroom doesn't even have enough places to put all the toys. And most of the day is spent arguing with my son that he doesn't need more screen time. Find fun things to do that will, I start finding fun things to do that will keep him busy and happy with the fewest tears possible, and trying my very best to make sure he doesn't break something, including himself. Right now in my life, I think success looks like balance. Being able to balance my work life and my home life in a way that gives me the freedom to make money and then spend it doing fun things with my family. Balancing spending time with my kid, my husband, my friends, and time for myself to refill my cup. Balancing super productive days and days that it's okay to just be lazy. Balancing being boss-ass bitch hustling, but still being able to come home, make dinner for my family, play with my kid, and snuggle with him and my husband. Days that are filled with problem-solving success that make my mind feel good, and days that are filled with warm snuggles and movie nights. A successful life has looked many different ways as the years have passed by, but this balance is where I'm at right now.
I think we're
Ditto.
gonna have very similar
I
answers.
think we're all going to have similar answers. Yes.
I think this novel does an excellent job of both challenging and at times reinforcing traditional expectations around love and success. Weddings are often seen as the ultimate symbol of happiness, but the story highlights how outdated some of those expectations can be. It shows that even when people reach those milestones, things aren't always as perfect as they seem, and that real happiness often comes from choosing your own path and finding peace in it. The book did not make me reflect on what a successful life looks like, but doing so in this question, for me, success is multifaceted and constantly evolving. When I was younger, it was income-based. If I could just reach X amount a year, I would be set.
Yes.
If I think back to my childhood, the life my kids have now would have seemed rich and full to me, as I didn't grow up with wealth. As I've learned and grown, building a different kind of life has become important and something I want to pass on to them. A big part of my definition of success is having my children be happy, healthy, and set up for the future. At the same time, success isn't just about what I can provide. I want to be healthy, present, and genuinely happy. I want to prioritize my life, not just my work, and have a career that supports that balance. I don't see success as a single number anymore. It's about different parts of my life aligning in meaningful ways. And as I get older and my priorities shift, my definition of success continues to evolve with me.
Yeah.
Well, to just echo all your guys' answers, said the expectations that come with weddings can be extremely overwhelming and overpowering. It made me think about how crazy we, probably mainly women, can be with everything being perfect, specifically the wedding day. But also, Lila spent so much time trying to give off an image of happiness and success. This question made me reflect on it more than the book. But over the years, my meaning of success has changed greatly. I would think that this is the case for most people as life and circumstances change. My definition of success 10 years ago was making as much money as possible. Now, as a mom and a wife, it's more about the time I can spend with my little family, the memories we can make. Money is still in the image, but I don't know that the number is as important. It's what is enough to give me the time and memories that I want.
Yeah. So copy paste.
When we were
Different words, but yes, all the same.
on vacation this last week, my oldest was like, do the people who own this condo that we're staying at, is this their vacation home? And I was like, yes, it is. And she was like, do we have a vacation home? And I thought in the back of my head, I was like, no, but challenge accepted, child. I'll get right on that for you.
Yes, seriously.
But I feel like, not that I don't want to be locked into one place, but I think I will feel obligated to have to go on vacation in this vacation home. And I don't want to. I want to explore the world. But I also like the idea of a vacation home. So I don't know.
Okay, so now that we've talked about it,
yes.
how are we feeling about our ratings?
I'm feeling good. I feel like last week I was on the fence of like, I don't know if it's going to be a 2 or a 3. I'm going to settle on a 2. I'm glad I did because I still really like the book, and even talking about it made me like it all over again. And I would absolutely watch a series, but I'm happy with where I've settled. I'm good with the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my 3. I still really liked this book and I would recommend it. And somebody needs to make it into a series so I can watch it play out again.
Yeah, I'll keep it a 3. I don't think that reviewing it made me dislike it or brought second guesses. I think, I don't know if I originally landed between a 2 and a 3, but I feel like I'm between a 2 and a 3 right now, but I'd give it more a 3, I think.
All right,
It wasn't no Great Big Beautiful Life, but
this is my problem.
you compare everything to that.
Or Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like the ones that I was like, this is definitely a 3+. I'm like, how can I put that in the same category? Like it's really good. It's just not that good.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah.
So I think that's where I need to stop comparing them. I need to just, how did I feel about this book in this moment and rate it? But that is why
You
I
picked
think
a
I
2?
picked a 2 originally. All right, so that's a wrap on this episode of Literature on the Rocks, where we dove into wedding people. We survived the wedding weekend, the emotional spiral, and all the secondhand awkwardness that came with it. Next week, we're trading wedding people for anxious people by Frederick Backman. So really just a different flavor of chaos and people. Make sure you're subscribed. We're here for you every Wednesday.
And if this episode reminded you that sometimes the most important moments happen when you least expect them, go ahead and rate and review us. It helps other readers find stories that sit with the hard stuff and still leave room for connection, humor, and maybe even a second chance.
Not exactly the wedding story you expect, but maybe the one you need. The wedding people gave us plenty to reflect on. Stay in the conversation with us at Lit on the Rocks Pod and at literatureontherocks.com.
Until next time, may your weddings be drama light, your people be manageable, and your cocktails strong enough to handle both. Cheers.
Toodaloo.
Bye.